In a land where empires rise and fall, one people carried a promise across 40 centuries. From a single nomad's footsteps to the rebirth of a modern nation, their story is written in war, faith, and hope. This is the epic journey of Israel, from Abraham to the modern state. Around 2000 BCE, in the city of Ur, in Mesopotamia, a thriving metropolis with ziggurats, trade routes, and powerful kings, lived a man named Abram. In a world worshipping countless gods, he heard the voice of a single deity who commanded him, "Go from your country and your father's house to a land I will show you." He obeyed, setting out on a dangerous journey of over 900 miles to Canaan. He crossed the Euphrates, wandered through Haran, down into Shechem, Bethel, Hebron, places whose names still echo today. This was not just a land grab. It was a covenant. "I will make of you a great nation." His wife, Sarah, was barren, but late in life, they had Isaac, who would become the second link in the chain. Isaac's son, Jacob, was later renamed Israel, meaning he who struggles with God. Jacob fathered 12 sons, founders of the 12 tribes of Israel: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. Among Jacob's sons, Joseph was the dreamer, his father's favorite, gifted a richly colored coat. His jealous brothers sold him into slavery, sending him on a chain of fateful events that led him to become vizier of Egypt under Pharaoh. When famine struck Canaan, Joseph saved his brothers, who did not recognize him at first. In one of the most moving reunions in ancient literature, he forgives them, weeping. "What you meant for evil, God meant for good." The entire clan migrates to Egypt, numbering around 70 people. There they settle in the fertile Nile Delta region of Goshen. Over time, their numbers grow, and the native Egyptians come to see them as a potential threat. Pharaoh enslaves them. For generations, their identity survives despite oppression. In this era, a Hebrew child is born and hidden in a basket on the Nile to escape Pharaoh's decree to kill newborn Hebrew boys. Found by an Egyptian princess, he is named Moses, drawn out of the water. Raised in the royal household, Moses eventually flees Egypt after killing an overseer. In exile, at Mount Horeb, he sees a burning bush, a flame that does not consume the plant, and hears God's voice, "I am who I am." Moses returns to confront Pharaoh. 10 devastating plagues, Nile turned to blood, hail, locusts, darkness, death of the firstborn, break Pharaoh's resistance. Moses leads the Israelites out, parting the Red Sea, escaping the chariots of Egypt. In the desert, they receive the law at Mount Sinai, the 10 Commandments, a moral code that will define Judaism forever. But fear, disobedience, and tribal infighting keep them wandering the wilderness for 40 years before reaching the border of Canaan. After Moses dies, Joshua takes command. The Israelites cross the Jordan River, renew their covenant, and begin conquering Canaanite cities. Jericho falls with a miraculous collapse of its walls. Other battles rage at Ai, Hazor, and Lachish. It is a brutal, tribal time, marked by partial conquests, alliances, and betrayals. The Israelites live in a loose tribal confederation, each tribe in its allotted territory. In times of crisis, charismatic judges, not kings, lead them. Deborah, a female prophet, and judge, defeats the Canaanite general Sisera. Gideon routs the Midianites with only 300 men. Samson, a Nazirite with superhuman strength, fights the Philistines. This is a period of chaos, where every man did what was right in his own eyes, until the people demand a king. The prophet Samuel anoints Saul as Israel's first king. But Saul's reign is plagued by internal strife. Then comes David, the shepherd boy who defeats the Philistine giant Goliath. David unites the tribes, conquers Jerusalem from the Jebusites, and makes it the political and spiritual heart of Israel. His son Solomon builds the magnificent First Temple, a house of cedar, gold, and precious stones, a symbol of Israel's glory. Israel becomes a regional power, trading with Phoenicia, Egypt, even Arabia. Solomon is famed for his wisdom, but his heavy taxation and forced labor caused discontent. After Solomon's death, civil war splits the realm. The north becomes Israel, with its capital at Samaria. The south is Judah, with Jerusalem. The northern kingdom succumbs to Assyrian invasion in 722 BCE. Survivors are exiled, the so-called 10 lost tribes. Judah limps on until 586 BCE, when the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II destroys Jerusalem, burns the temple, and hauls its leaders to Babylon. In exile, the Jewish people create synagogues, preserve the Torah, and develop prophetic traditions that will define Judaism. In 539 BCE, the Persian king Cyrus the Great defeats Babylon and issues an edict allowing Jews to return. Under leaders like Zerubbabel, Ezra, and Nehemiah, they rebuild Jerusalem's walls and the Second Temple. Though still under foreign rule, Judea becomes a small but resilient province with strong religious identity. Prophets like Haggai and Zechariah encourage the people to renew their faith, and Jewish law takes on its final written forms. Alexander the Great sweeps through in 332 BCE, bringing Greek culture. After Alexander dies, his empire is divided, and Judea falls under the Seleucid dynasty. Antiochus IV Epiphanes tries to forcibly Hellenize the Jews, even dedicating the temple to Zeus. In 167 BCE, the Maccabees, a priestly family led by Judas Maccabeus, revolt. Against all odds, they defeat the Seleucids, cleanse the temple, and establish the Hasmonean dynasty, which rules for about a century. The Romans arrive in 63 BCE, led by Pompey. Initially, they allow local kings like Herod the Great to rule under their authority. Herod rebuilds the Second Temple on a grand scale, creating a marvel of ancient architecture. But Roman taxes, corruption, and brutality fan the flames of rebellion. In 66 CE, the Great Revolt breaks out. Rome responds with overwhelming force. Titus besieges Jerusalem, starves its defenders, and in 70 CE, destroys the temple, carrying off its treasures to Rome. Only the Western Wall, the Kotel, remains. A last hope flares under Simon Bar Kokhba, who leads another uprising against Rome. For a brief moment, a free Judea reappears, but Rome crushes the revolt mercilessly. Jews are banned from Jerusalem, renamed Aelia Capitolina by Rome, and the land renamed Palestina, to erase Jewish identity. From here, the diaspora truly begins. For centuries, Jewish communities will live in Babylon, Persia, Spain, North Africa, and across Europe, preserving a dream of return. Islam sweeps across the Middle East in the 7th century, conquering Jerusalem. Jews and Christians become dhimmi, protected but second-class peoples. In 1099, Crusaders slaughter Jews and Muslims alike, capturing the city. But Saladin retakes it in 1187. For the next 700 years, the land changes hands between Mamluks, Ottomans, and local Arab clans. Jewish communities remain in places like Safed, Tiberias, and Jerusalem, never fully disappearing, while millions live in exile, where they experience persecution, but also a flowering of learning, the Talmud, philosophy, mysticism, poetry. In the 19th century, modern nationalism arises. Pogroms, anti-Semitic laws, and waves of violence in Russia and Eastern Europe convince many Jews they need a homeland. In 1896, Theodor Herzl publishes Der Judenstaat, calling for a Jewish state in Palestine. The first Zionist Congress meets in Basel in 1897, launching a political movement. Jewish immigrants begin settling in Palestine in waves called Aliyot, first, building agricultural colonies, later, modern cities. In World War I, Britain captures Palestine from the Ottoman Turks. The 1917 Balfour Declaration supports a Jewish homeland, but also promises Arab self-determination. Jewish immigration accelerates in the 1920s and 1930s, clashing with Arab nationalism. The British try to limit Jewish arrivals, but anti-Semitism in Europe, culminating in Hitler's rise, drives ever more desperate Jews to Palestine. Arab revolts break out in the 1930s. Britain struggles to control the violence and cannot satisfy either side. In 1939, the world plunges into war. Nazi Germany embarks on the systematic extermination of European Jewry. 6 million Jews die in ghettos, concentration camps, and gas chambers. After the war, tens of thousands of survivors make their way to Palestine. Despite British restrictions, the world is shocked by the Holocaust. Sympathy grows for a Jewish state. The United Nations votes in 1947 to partition Palestine into a Jewish and Arab state. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion reads Israel's Declaration of Independence in Tel Aviv. The land of Israel was the birthplace of the Jewish people. After 2,000 years of exile, we hereby proclaim the establishment of a Jewish state. Hours later, the First Arab-Israeli War begins. From Abraham's first steps, through exile, conquest, and return, to the rebirth of a nation, Israel's story is one of the longest and most dramatic in human history. It is a testament to faith, identity, and the unbreakable will of a people.